Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Uh-oh, a little bit of an echo there. Connie Balmer. Hi, Connie Balmer. Joan Garcia, Fancy Fancy. Let me see who was here first. Lydia Washington. Thank you so much for being here. Uh, Wait, how could you have been here first if it says greetings, Joan? Joan Garcia must have been here first, right? Well, that's who's at the top, though. Oh, well. That's interesting. I never. Oh, okay. I guess Joan Garcia was here first. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Let me see here. Oh, the slides. By the way, I don't think we'll be here more than an hour. Seriously, I do not think we'll be here more than an hour. Okay. And the slides are up, and we're good. All right. Well, a little something has changed since yesterday. Let me see here. And we'll get into that. Wow, what is this arrow for? Oh, are you sure you want to leave the studio? No. Okay, that would be, well, that's not the, well, never mind. They changed a couple things here, and I'm just fascinated with all the changes. Okay, there we go. Who leaked? Who leaked? That is a good question. Well, we know, and well, it didn't come from Montecito because, as we always say, Montecito, where there are no leaks. There are no leaks in Montecito. So where did the leaks come from? Um, hmm. I know it wasn't him, and I know it was not her. It was not Harry and Meghan. So yeah, we can just eliminate that from any consideration. It was not the Sussexes. Okay. That is not a thing. Hmm. 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 uh, isn't this the one who brought on Mark Bolan, right? The world's greatest, most successful home wrecker. Isn't this the one that brought on Mark Bolan? Now, I cannot say that I know 100 for certain, but I am definitely leaning in that direction. It just all makes so much sense. Um, yeah, I that's the direction I'm going. Um, that's her style. That is very much within her wheelhouse, right? Hello, is this the Daily Mail? Senior Royal here. If anything that, well, I'm not saying this something that should be celebrated, but if I were to give credit to someone for having done a successful job, first and foremost, home wrecker. And then, of course, number two, driving the driving Charles' children away, right? I mean, let's face it, there's still some bad blood there. Um, Even with Willie Leaks, the company man. Um, okay, and number three, the ability to recover from having one of the worst reputations in the land. I'm going to give her credit for those three things. She managed to wreck a family and then drive the children away from their dad. And to complete things, she managed to, I wouldn't say that she's accepted by most people, but she has become acceptable to just enough people, um, where she was able to go to the coronation without being covered in raw eggs. I'll say that. Although they were not sure that she would be able to do that, but yeah, she's been very meticulous, and because I don't think she's ever worked a real job before, that was her job. That was her job. Securing the bags for her kids, right? That was her job. Not just for her kids, of course, for herself. I mean, I'm pretty sure she has an Amex black card somewhere. No standing ovation for her at Wimbledon. Well, and let's face it, the other one only got a half a standing ovation at Wimbledon. So the crowd was not so generous. Not everybody was on board with that. I would imagine that whether or not they were well received, actually, any place they go, whether or not the royals are well received is kind of like a way to determine how popular they are given the circumstances. So let's see what Legs was speaking about. Is this here? This is what Legs was referring to. If I can make that come up, where did it go? Uh-oh. All right, where did it go? Oh, all right, let's do this. All right, that did not want to work. Let me try that again. All right, try that one more time. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, here it is.
Her Majesty the Queen taking her seat in the roll box.
Look at her trundle down the aisle.
Her Majesty the Queen.
Now you can clearly see the lady there behind her. She warned the woman in the striped dress on the right and the guy on the right. She actually reached over and poked him in the shoulder to make him stand up. That was not necessary. By the time that old bag of bones went by, if he was of the mind to stand up, eventually he would have done it. But I believe this lady kind of wanted that kind of like, how they do the wave at a stadium, how the crowd does the wave and it goes rippling around. I think she was expecting for Camilla to walk down the steps and people to just rise as she's near and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, I am reasonably certain that that guy, along with other people, were looking at Gladys on the Jumbotron. So this guy was likely hearing the crowd cheer. He probably looked up at the screen and saw that, she was coming down the steps. And it's not like he didn't know that she was next to him because, after all, everyone in that area are either in the royal box or near the royal box. I'm guessing he may have actually been in the royal box. I'm not sure, but that is designated seating for the royal family. So there's no way the guy could not have known that he could expect either Gladys or Mumbles to arrive, and he did not want to stand up. But he was coerced into doing it. See how the lady's shaking her arm back there, shaking her fist, trying to get everyone to stand up? Look at that. They literally had to coerce people into standing up. Oh, mm, mm, mm. Thank you, Legs. Thank you for the reminder. Let's see, they always, there we go. All right, let me try that again. All right. They, that's what I need to do. I need to take that away. There we go. They always want to drag the Sussexes into their mess and use them as a shield. They complain about Harry and Meghan necessary renovations for 2 million, while Wank put a 4 million pound driveway into the what was it, Anmer Hall, the house that I'm pretty sure they rarely use, um, because they're at Windsor now, right? And Anmer Hall, I do believe that is on the Sandringham estate. So anyway, there was one of the royal reporters who just said the quiet parts out loud. How many homes do you need? Well, they have the apartment one, the largest at Kensington Palace, Anmer Hall. The Queen evicted the family that was there so that William and Kate could move there, right? And then, if that wasn't enough, they said they were going to move near the Windsor Castle to the Adelaide Cottage. Although I'm convinced that if nobody else, I'm sure William is staying at Windsor Castle. And let's complete that with the property that they have in Scotland, which I believe is on the Balmoral estate, which I'm not sure if that has ever been photographed, but they do have a property there. So, and of course, when he becomes king, he is going to not just have the rights to Balmoral and Sandringham, but the sovereign actually owns outright. It does not belong to the Crown Estate. The sovereign actually owns Sandringham House and Balmoral Castle. That is their private property. So, yeah, that's William's next step. Is that when Charles goes, he is going to be the owner of those properties. He'll have control of that $1 billion duchy, the Lancaster duchy, as well as everything else that goes with it. All of that, and not even obligated to pay taxes. Whatever little taxes he's paid, he don't want to let people know about it. Let me see. They also tore out a new kitchen at Admiral Hall and then added an extra kitchen at apartment 1 at KP. Oh, I didn't know about the one at KP. So they added an additional apartment at KP. Got it. Thank you so much for that. That is a new one. Did not know that. Yeah, they've been throwing their weight around. So in 15 years of marriage, now how long has it been? 2011. So in about what, 13, 14 years of marriage, that's averaging about one house every year or so, every year and some change. Well, in just under, uh, yeah, I guess, yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, every 2 years and some change, they got a new house. Yeah, I think that's the way it goes. Not bad. Not bad for two of the laziest people on the face of the earth. Um, Again, this is where I believe the leak came from, allegedly. I'm going to allege that. I don't have any proof. But before we go any further into that, let's take a look at the, as ever, rosé. This is what the Duchess of Sussex shared with us today. Current status: weekend mode aviated. Activated, aviated. Weekend mode activated. So, what do we have there? Looks like a bowl of fruit or plate of fruit. and some of the delicious rosé. I cannot make out what's in the book there. Let me see here. It says Summer Essentials, Good Friends, as ever rosé. So number one is something Danshin. I think that's what it says. Danshin. What is that? Good Friends and as ever rosé. I don't know what that is. So, oh, that's sunshine. Sunshine. Okay. And I only figured that out because I just saw Summer Essentials. So that is the letter S. Okay. So Sunshine, Good Friends, and as ever, Rosé. That's what she has on the notepad there. Got it. Got it. I'm like, dancing? What's that? It's sunshine. Woo! Okay. Report to the eye doctor ASAP. And here are a few snaps that some of the lucky recipients shared with us. And look at there. They added some of those flower petals, um, edible flowers to their wine. Nice. Oh, that pizza looks delicious. Although I don't like pepperoni pizza, but I haven't crunched into a pizza in a while. Okay, let's get back to this. Sussexes did not leak details of meeting with King's aide. So, and well, let's just say this, that is Victoria Ward, and that is coming from the Telegraph. Victoria Ward of the Telegraph wrote that photographs of a peace summit in London between advisors to King Charles and Prince Harry made the front pages. That is true. Team Sussex was not responsible for leaking the details of a peace summit to a tabloid newspaper, sources insist. Now, it is rare that the Sussexes respond to most things that are said, which is very wise. You really do want to save it for when it's absolutely essential and necessary. Okay. Senior aide working for the king and Prince Harry took the first steps toward rapprochement by holding sensitive talks last week. The meeting at Private Member Club in central London was an extraordinary development in relations between the two royal households, which recent years have been almost non existent. Details, including the venue, timing, and nature of the talks, were leaked to the Mail on Sunday. This led to the aides being packed outside the club and even during the meeting as they enjoyed drinks on the balcony. The leaks has jeopardized, that is, the fragile peace operation, creating further suspicion and distrust on both sides and potentially sending them back to square one. Sources close to Prince Harry insist that the Sussexes were not responsible. They acknowledged that having the details of the meeting splashed across newspaper front pages has hardly an ideal way to start what they had hoped would be a new period of peace. Buckingham Palace declined to comment. Okay, so the palace declined. The Sussexes insist that it was not them. Meredith Maines, the Duke's new chief communication officer based in California, was joined at the meeting by Liam McGuire, who runs the Sussex's UK-based PR operation, and Tobin Andre, the King's communications secretary. The meeting was orchestrated in a bid to start afresh as both sides recognizing that the open communication channels would benefit them all. A source told the Mail on Sunday there's a long road ahead, but a channel of communication is now open for the first time in years. Is it really? I mean, Harry did go there, and you know what I'm saying? I don't think that there was ever any complete cutoff. Absolutely not. Not in Harry is what, fifth in line to the throne? That doesn't make sense to me. Lex says both sides, it's obvious that BP leaked it. The communication person was from the Daily Mail for uh, Buckingham Palace. Of course, he leaked it. He told people who to look for and when to look out for them. Well, apparently, I believe it was Victoria Ward that was interviewed on GB News who said that she was told to look out for this, that she was given a heads up. They were told to look out for it. Just wait for it. Something's coming. So, at the very least, they knew something was coming. They knew it. And remember, this is only a short walk from Clarence House and Buckingham Palace. That would be a place where certain people would definitely be nearby just in case. So, yeah, I don't doubt that. There was no formal agenda, that is, just casual drinks. There were things both sides wanted to talk about. The meeting came weeks after the Duke told the BBC that he wanted to get my father and brother back. It was hoped that the peace summit at the Royal Overseas League near Clarence House would be a line in the sand. Miss Maines and Mr. Maguire arrived at the meeting by taxi on Wednesday afternoon, followed by Mr. Andre. The trio were seen at the club on the first floor garden terrace before moving inside. A source described the summit as the first step toward reconciliation between Harry and his father, and a step in the right direction, adding it was finally the right time for both sides to talk. Let's see. Isn't this something? It says the feud began when the Sussexes left their royal duties and moved to America amid furious negotiations over the terms of their exit deal. So they're saying that, I mean, okay, I don't even need to tell you this because you all already know this. So they're going to say that it was Harry and Meghan who started things when they abruptly left. The thing that frustrates me so much is that they never, ever address the leaking and the briefing. The leaking and the briefing. Not to mention the fact that from the very start, there seemed to be mischief, a plan afoot to even derail the wedding. Okay, so I don't expect them to address that. I don't expect the royal rota to accuse anyone in the royal family of having tried to sabotage the wedding. But I will say this much, and as Harry has said himself, they returned, or actually not returned, but they moved out. Their very last thing was March of 2020. They went to Canada, and for an entire year leading up to the Oprah interview, they waited to the anniversary of their departure. For an entire year, there was nothing but leaking and briefing, leaking the locations where they were staying, briefing the press about anything and everything that they wanted to, most of it coming from Kensington Palace, of course. And so at that point, that was when Harry was like, well, since they won't stop, maybe if we air a few things, right? That's what Harry said. They wanted to air a few things in so many words, and hopefully that would be the end of it, right? We will tell our side of the story. I even remember the Sussexes saying that they thought that the big thing that would be taken from the Oprah interview would have been Meghan's mental health crisis. But no, it turned into who's the royal racist. And just for the record, neither Harry or Meghan actually used the term racist. They said they were preoccupied with the baby's skin color. That was it. It was the tabloids that used the term royal racist. Who's the racist? They couldn't wait to run those newspapers. Um, and then, of course, it continued more leaking, more briefing, more lies, and so on. And so, what happened next? Well, next was the Sussexes had their documentary, another chance to tell their side of the story. But in between those opportunities to tell their story, there what the Sussexes have given interviews not even 10 times since they left. Not even 10 times. And I mean interviews of any sort. It may have been more than 10, maybe, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 at the most. But interviews where they actually spoke about themselves concerning the royal family, that was just a handful of times. And again, only necessary because of the constant leaking and briefing. This hate campaign, which has been fueled by Kensington Palace mostly, and of course, the occasional barbs that they have gotten from um, Clarence House or Buckingham Palace. But that is where it started. They were perfectly, as Harry said, or Meghan, I think it was Harry that said, we thought if we just leave, then they can have all the front pages, they can have all the attention, they could have everything. Harry was even saying, take the titles. Nope, you keep the titles, you keep those, right? And we'll give you a year to adjust. You'll get money for a year and you'll get security for a year. And who was the first to break that deal, to break that contract? It was the royal family. It was the left behinds. They're the ones who broke that. It was Charles. And evicted them from the Frogmore. So all along, most of these things were instigated or created by the left behind royals. And then they have their army of royal experts to blanket the airways and accuse the Sussexes of everything under the sun. Really, what did I miss? Let me go back here. For them, it was beyond believable that they spoke up and said the family are the sources. Number two, they sacrificed people in the family for others. And number three, they broke the fairy tale. And four, the royal road alive for the British royal family. Absolutely. Absolutely. All of that. All of that. It's just like any other bully. They don't expect you to tell. What gives a bully strength is your silence. What gives the bully even more strength is everyone else's silence. They expect for you to suffer in silence. They don't want you to speak up. They want you to be too afraid, and they want everyone else to be afraid. With the level of threats against the Sussexes, the fact that they are still willing to speak truth to power lets you know that they're not afraid. They're taking precautions as anyone should in that situation, but certainly not afraid. A long time ago, a lot of people, um, well, not people, but the Royal Rota, they were accusing the Sussexes of hiding behind their walls and that they were cut off from the world. And nothing could have been further from the truth. The Sussexes come and go as they please. How they were able to go to the hospital and give birth without them knowing, I have no idea, but it happened, which was amazing. But then again, they live in a gated community and there are certain laws about stalking people. They do have their, their ways of doing things. Let me see here. Charles is desperate for some good press. In my opinion, he still has a hateful heart toward Harry and Meghan. Why the Daily Fail all in this? Well, because the aide that works for Charles used to work at the Daily Mail, which I'm going to get to that in a minute. Beverly McCaskill says, Barron, it was the reporter when Willie Kitty left that school, the black girl with the afro. She asked Willie, was the royal family racist? Okay, I do recall that. But wasn't it already being said by the tabloids at that point? I mean, I do remember the lady that Willie was walking with, but wasn't it already said? I mean, I don't know where it originated, but I just thought that was something in the press already because, you know, about the baby's skin color. But I don't recall exactly where I heard it first. But I do recall that reporter asking that question. But I thought it was already a thing at that point. Hi, Mary H. Are praying on Prince Harry's love for them. Um, Sometimes you can't look back, Prince Harry. See, nothing is going to change. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's important to note that Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, and KP are at war. Wank are also at war within their household. They use Harry and Meghan as a way to vent their frustrations at each other. It is like Meg for family. Meg's. I'm sorry. It's like Meg from Family Guy. They need a lightning rod. Yeah, the what do they call it? The chew toy. They want the Sussexes to be their chew toy. Oh yeah, they tried to sabotage the wedding. Yeah, they did. They really did try to sabotage the wedding, starting with the whole thing with the photos um, that Thomas Markle took. That was part of it right there, hoping that they could get Meghan to go to Mexico to try to speak to him. And I'm pretty sure that they thought Meghan was going to get all emotional and run off to Mexico so that she could deal with her father. The thing is, when you have been, and this is my words, not Meghan's, but when you have been in a somewhat abusive situation, even if it's coming from a parent, um, and of course, that's not to say that, these are my words saying that when you're in an abusive situation, but Meghan has never used those words. But when you are in an abusive situation, even if it's emotional abuse, um, you are so battle hardened. You have been toughened up from all of the mistreatment over the years that the emotional response for one person is not necessarily the same for the next person. I mean, if you have had a history of being disappointed with someone, you kind of have that in the back of your mind anyway. And Meghan said at the time when Harry said, we're going to send you a car, we're going to bring you to the UK, and you can stay at the hotel or whatever. And what did Thomas Markle say? Oh, well, I got something to do, so I can't leave right away. And Meghan's response was, he's lying. He ain't coming. She knew right then and there he wasn't coming because she knows him. She knows him. Harry had no idea what an awful person that Thomas Markle was. Meghan has been dealing with that flightiness her whole life. And they thought that Meghan was going to get on a plane and go to Mexico. Why don't you go talk to him? It was suggested. They were so sure that she would be so panicked that she would hop on the airplane and just go, delaying the wedding possibly forever. Well, it did not happen. Or who knows? They may have had some kind of trap or embarrassing situation, whoever they are. They could have had something waiting for her in Mexico. Yeah, come on down to Mexico. God only knows what that was. Something of embarrassment or worse. Yep. The only thing that shocked them probably more than the fact that the wedding was not derailed, the only thing that shocked them more was when Harry and Meghan packed their bags and left together. That was a shock. I'm pretty certain they did not see that coming because Harry, he'd never known any other kind of life. This is the only life he knows. Well, now he's got a new life, just like the other people in the world. Now he's got a new life. Let's see. The baby's skin color only came during the Oprah interview. The reporter at the school was the follow-up when William responded. Okay, but this is the thing. Was that the first time that they used the term racist? That's what I'm speaking of. I know where the baby skin color thing comes from, but who was the first one to say that the Sussexes accused the royal family of racism? So maybe I spoke out of turn and I didn't make myself clear, but who was the first one to say racist? I believe that was taken from the interview, because Harry and Meghan never said it in the interview, but I thought the tabloids, whichever one was the first to go to print, said that the Sussexes accused the royal family of racism. And then it turned into who's the racist? That may have actually been Piers Morgan that started the chant of who is the racist? Who are they calling the racist? Because I recall that Piers Morgan, among others, was like, you can't just leave it like that. You need to tell us who it is. Now, that is my best recollection. But I don't know who was the first to say racist. Help me out if you can. Okay. Let me see here. William thought he could do the PR himself, but kept making mistakes. Yeah. Yeah. And William cut off Buckingham Palace. William did not want any input from Buckingham Palace. This is why the Caribbean tour was such a disaster. The experienced people that Charles have been using for years. Did any of Charles' people ever go over to Kensington Palace? Did anyone from Clarence House ever go over to Kensington Palace and work under the Cambridges? I cannot think of one person, except um, Samantha Cohen was sent over there to keep an eye on the Sussexes, right? She was sent over there to keep an eye on the Sussexes. She felt that was too demeaning for someone of her skill set, and so she left and went on with Boris Johnson. But I cannot think of any royal aide that has been actually working for the Queen or Charles that found themselves at Kensington Palace. It seems like that whole team was put together by William. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that the secretary that Harry had, I think his name was Fox. Wasn't he employed by the family for a while? Okay, so BP came in and helped only after Camilla was torturing William. Then Thomas Kingston, so William was in a spiral. Then King Charles saying that Kensington Palace, no, Kate is his daughter. He never had, right? Then they pay off the Middleton. Of course, all of this is alleged, right? Or some of it. Oh, man. I can see you don't think about this much. I also believe that when Meghan was reading the book on Archie's first birthday, she had that onesie on him. She was letting it be known to them, is this white enough for you? Allegedly. Oh, man. Yeah, Kate did her share, didn't she, with the whole, oh, she doesn't like the dress either, and she's been crying. Well, she's only crying because it was one baby brain dealing with another baby brain. That's why she was crying. She was dealing with the world's oldest baby brain. Okay, I felt they were going to set her up with some type of accident if Meghan went to Mexico. Well, whatever it was, I'm pretty sure they had something waiting for her. I'm leaning towards some type of embarrassment. That's what I'm thinking because think about it. In going to Mexico, she would have been with royal protection officers, and I think that would have been too much if they would have let something happen to her. Just like with Diana, Diana's so-called accident only happened when she no longer had the royal protection officers. So I don't know whose idea it was to try to get her on the plane, but Meghan was like, "Nope, we got a wedding to plan. Sorry." He'll get over it. He's always doing stuff like this. You know, I haven't said this for a long time, but I have to say it again. When I first took a look at Thomas Markle Sr., I just got the worst feeling come over me. And I was telling people, I just don't think, and of course, I don't even know if there was a Sussex squad at that time. I just was telling anybody I know that I think it's a bad idea. I even told my sister. My sister's like, well, that's her father. I said, yeah, but there's something that's not right about him. I said, the fact that he has not met Harry, that is a bad sign. And just take a look at him. There's something wrong with him. He hasn't met Harry. And no offense to anybody who lives in Mexico, but he's living down in Mexico. I mean, it's just like it seemed like for him, given his appearance, he wasn't going there just to save some money. He was going there just to get away from something, allegedly. I just got the worst vibe from him. So I did not want him to walk her down the aisle. And in my, fantasy, I pictured, well, maybe Barack Obama could walk her down the aisle. That's what I was thinking. anybody, just not him. I just could not know. I felt like it was something terribly wrong with him. I got the worst feeling in my gut just seeing him. I thought it was something wrong with him. And that was even before the whole thing with the pictures and stuff. I just got a bad feeling. Nope. I did not like him from the start. Yeah, William doesn't like being controlled. If you remember, William didn't attend any functions with Camilla. They didn't even go to the Easter Sunday. Finally, William went on an event with just him and the cow. Yeah, they've done a couple of things together. But yeah, he doesn't like to be controlled, and he likes to flex his independence. So William has pretty much done things the way he chooses. Um, and there's been very little backlash for it. I don't, and God forgive me for saying this, but I don't think he was particularly close to the Queen. I don't think that he actually received, I think he was probably closer to the Queen Mother, but I don't think he was that close to the Queen. And I don't think that he's had the type of input that he needed. And who knows, maybe he only liked being around the Queen Mother because she always had booze around the house. The Queen Mother had 3 faucets: hot, cold, gin. Hot, cold, gin. Everything in her house was potentially a hidden source of booze, right? So much so, so much so that, oh, never mind. Uh, oh, man. Anyway, that's enough about that old drunkard. All right, let me take that away. So, Tobin, former co-deputy editor of the Daily Mail, and before that, the Mail on Sunday, officially assumed the position of the King and Queen Consort's communication secretary. I still remember when that happened, that they said that. A matter of fact, did I save a screenshot of that somewhere? But there you go, the invisible contract. There's Lord Nappyhead, the racially ambiguous owner of the Daily Mail. There he is with the Queen, Lord Ruthermore, Furthermore, whatever his name is. There he is with Catherine. There he is with William. There he is with Ford Fiesta. There he is with the Queen Consort and her sister, I think that is, right? Yeah. Well, what does that one say? The Duchess of Cornwall opened the Daily Mail Chalk Valley Historical Festival. She opens up the historical festival for the same newspaper, among others, that dragged her for years. Why would she do that other than the fact that now she's in control? This is the machine. This is the machine that the Sussexes are up against. The Sussexes do not have newspapers or any media groups in their hip pocket. But the royal family does, in particular, Charles and Camilla, William and Kate. Even though the Daily Mail is in a state of decline, and they have desperately tried to push their way into social media. And to be fair, most of the legacy media is in a state of decline. They're working very hard to compete with me and any other content creator, so much of what they produce is being filtered through people like me. And what's unfortunate is they have been pushing out all of this negative stuff for so many years that more people are apt to believe a content creator over a um, tabloid newspaper anyway, or anything else, even the nightly news, their own local news station. They're more likely to believe someone on the internet. And why is that? And that's because of all of the misdeeds that they've committed over the years, especially the British tabloid media. The British tabloid media, one of the biggest exports is the tabloid culture, where even a local newspaper spends more time talking about the Kardashians than they do a raging fire across town. And it's not supposed to be that way. What do they call it? The fourth estate, the fifth estate? I mean, this guy is disgusting. What he stands for is awful. And he has further enriched himself. I mean, he inherited the life he has, and he has enriched himself with these so-called journalists, with his so-called newspaper. King Charles' drama with Prince Harry will reflect badly on his reign. Well, that was an article from Kaiser of Celibacy, which is what I was saying yesterday, is that Charles, whenever his time comes, that is going to be his legacy. His legacy is going to be the fracture of his family, just like the Queen. The Queen may have sat on the throne for 70 years, but she also reigned over a very dysfunctional family, as evident by the 3 divorces. All within what, a year? Was it like 1 year? When they were either split up or divorced or both? The Queen, who was so intelligent, she didn't even have fire insurance. They didn't even have fire insurance. They had to turn to the public purse, to rebuild Windsor Castle. Let me see. The British royals are in a downward spiral, and they are trying to use the Sussexes for relevance. Meghan Sussex is too popular for the left behinds, and they are trying to sabotage her progress. Yes, they are. They cannot stand that Meghan's voice is so much bigger than theirs. Let me see. Oh, really? What did I miss? Now I got to go back and look for that one. Yeah, I'm missing all the good comments, aren't I? Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. It's just like when something doesn't sound right. You just know when something doesn't sound right. It goes back to when the American oil heiress, Meghan, rebuffed him. Yeah, we still don't know what William wanted when he went charging over to the house and jumped on Harry. He wanted to see Meghan. What did he want with Meghan? And delusional William, as Harry said, William is quoting the tabloids, saying all these things about his wife, which were direct quotes from the tabloids. Oh, yeah. Um, Charles is good when it comes to manipulating the media. He's very good with the media. The fact that, again, he's managed to reform his reputation, and of course, Camilla the same. There, when you're the king, you are mostly the one holding the cards because the access to the fairy tale, the access to the properties, right? And the ability to film these historic events that goes a long way, especially in the Western media, because the British royal family is like taking a look right back into Downton Abbey days. So much of what they do has not changed over the years. And the footprint that they have with all of the properties, there's just no other European royal families that live like that. Even if they don't have as much money as some of the other royal families, at least they pretend they don't, but I think they do have much more. But a portfolio of properties and even a royal train. They only just got rid of the yacht some years ago, but they kept the train. And now the train is on its way out and they're replacing it with a fleet of helicopters. So they still live a very lavish lifestyle, like they're the Sultan of Brunei. And especially during this period of austerity that they get away with that. They had this huge state dinner while so many people are wondering how they're going to pay for certain things. Oh, because Diana had to tell her a few times to also include Harry. It was in her. Oh, okay. Okay. God only knows what the Queen Mother was saying, how the Queen Mother must have poisoned William's mind against Harry. Let me see. Love the name Ford Fiesta. Oh, me too. Attention seeking behavior. Yeah, you know what? When it happened, everybody, so many people were just like, oh, maybe I was wrong about him. But eventually his true colors showed. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That one. Okay, so Harry was closer to the Queen when she was alive. And as soon as she passed away, King Charles, Prince William, and Camilla started doing Prince Harry all the worst things ever. Yeah, yeah, Gundy. Okay. Okay, let me go to the next slide. So, time to clear the air, Papa. The air. Time to clear the air. Um, that is clever, but what does that even mean? Uh, I mean, William is the heir. Harry, truce bid, but not with wheels. William is not king. The, William is not the one who took his security away. So if he needs to clear up something, it's with the person who could sort out the things that need to be sorted out. It ain't got nothing to do with William right now. It must be the Kensington Palace people that do stuff like that, that keeps pushing William's name in places where it does not belong, where it is not relevant. And then take a look at that article from 2023. King Charles stripped Prince Harry, Meghan Markle's security as revenge. Well, that's something everybody knows. It was revenge because Harry would not drop the issue about the leaks coming from Kensington Palace. And yeah, so that was revenge. And then, of course, Harry's assessment of what's her name, Gladys, in his book, that didn't help none either, even if it was true. King Charles dealt blow as support for the monarchy plummets in shock new poll. As I said, I think they've been doing some internal polling, not just the external, but the internal polling. And they obviously have seen the light that the royal family's popularity is still on a decline. The evidence was right there in front of everyone's face with Trooping the Colors. The lack of attendance at the Trooping the Color. So much so that the camera angles, they did their best to make sure that they did not give you a wide angle of the area. You can just tell the camera angles were very different for the last 2 years. They were in comparison to when the Queen was here. So that is very evident. They are on the decline. And as so many people have said, is that when they find out the royals are nearby, there are some people that are commuting to or from work or whatever, and they just keep going. They just keep going. They have to bring in people from a retirement home, the pensioners or seniors or whatever. They have to bring the kids in. They'll go to like wherever there's a church or something like that, any place where they can find people. They will bring people out of their workplace and have them stand outside for them. Remember that one place, okay, after the Republic people really demonstrated that wherever Charles goes, they're going to be there. He went to this one place where it was not in his diary. He just showed up, but yet there were people outside. They were actually people from inside the office building that he visited. It was somewhere in the financial district. They had people outside and they had people on the inside. But essentially, they emptied as many people as they could from the building to stand outside and greet him. And the Republic people were nowhere around because they have been doing their best whenever possible. They do not want Republic to know what the plans are. They don't want any gatherings like that. And that was very odd, especially that it was in central London. It was not in his diary. And he got in and got out as fast as he could. But I do think that bothers him a lot. I'm so sure of that. Okay. So, secret Harry peace summit with King's aide needed William's permission, says royal expert. I don't believe that. I do not believe that. Charles is not incapacitated. Not yet. When Charles is as bad off as Queen Elizabeth, then I would expect something like that to happen. But so far, we haven't reached that point. William has not gone into Charles's household and switched out his courtiers as Charles did with the Queen. When that happens, then I will believe that William is in control of what's going on over there. William is in control of Kensington Palace and nothing else. So, yeah, I don't believe that. That is probably something that was leaked from Kensington Palace. They probably got on the phone and suggested that they write something fast so that because they want William to look as though he's in command of everything that goes on in that family. Yet it was Clarence House or what was it, Clarence House or Buckingham Palace? I don't know which is correct, but I'll just say the palace. It was the palace who had to rescue William, save William from himself with the whole Thomas Kingston and Kate's 172-day absence. That was the old school that had to save them because their PA, not PA, their, what do you call it? PR was in the toilet. They were making so many mistakes, left, right, and center. So I hardly think that they run stuff past William. Could you imagine that? Now, Charles may be a lot of things, but he has his pride, and he's not going to ask permission from William because if Buckingham Palace did not leak it, if they weren't the ones that leaked it, but we know they did, but if they weren't the ones that leaked it, if they had told William about it, it would be just as good as if they did it themselves. And on top of that, William probably would have wanted one of his people there. He probably would have wanted one of his people to be there. But William is unlikely to welcome any warmth between the king and his younger son. Prince William and his father have had their own periods of tension, like right now in recent years. And William's reading about the meeting in Sunday papers will not go down well, sources say. They should say it did not go down well because that's exactly what happened. He had no input whatsoever. I am certain of that. Let's see, they're saying that because they know that Harry never mentioned. Yes, yes, yes. You tell him. You tell him, Hazel. There's no need for William. Remember when William went to New York for that, what was it, Climate Week or whatever? When he went to New York, he was hoping to have some kind of input as far as the United Nations was concerned, but he found himself on the outside looking in. There was nothing about that trip that was done on behalf of his father, not one thing. Everything William did on that trip was for William. He had absolutely no official government task. And I'm sure that's why he didn't go that last time, is because Harry was there number one. So he was going to outshine him anyway. And number two, he would have had further embarrassment because once again, Harry would have been on the inside of the United Nations and William would have been on the outside. The best William was able to do that last time was get a photo with the Secretary General, and that was it. He had no other function that week. His father asked him nothing, and the government didn't ask him anything. He went over there for himself and got embarrassed by himself. God, that was a fun week. The prospect of peace between the king and his eldest son could ignite fresh tensions within the House of Windsor. Oh, you know what? Where is that at? I do have that article ready. So let's see what they mean by that. Okay, the photographs published in the Mail on Sunday show King Charles' communications secretary meeting with two of Prince Harry's senior aides at a private members club in London. Notably absent from the Peace Summit this week were any representatives from Prince William's team. And given the deep personal animosity between the brothers, that is no surprise. As a royalist has long reported, William's loathing for Harry runs deep. As one longtime friend of the Prince of Wales once bluntly put it to us, he absolutely effing hates Harry. Asked about speculation that William would have supported the meeting, the friend told us this weekend William will never forgive Harry for what he's been, for what he, I'm sorry, for what, we'll never forgive Harry for what, oh, that's he. I thought it was B. Let me pull this closer. Actually, let me make it bigger. There we go. That's much better. Yeah, he would never forgive Harry for what he's done. Charles is the king. He can do what he likes, but make no mistake, William believes with every fiber of his being that giving Harry and Meghan back any royal immaturatures is a huge mistake. Okay. Meeting included the king's most senior. Yeah, we know that. Let me see here. Both sides together after more than, okay, yeah. Okay, I don't want to go through all that again. All right. Well, this is kind of, they're not saying much about William here. So and now they're talking about the Oprah Winfrey interview. But it's not saying anything about William and Harry. Again, I think they're trying to include William in this as though he had something to do with anything, and he did not. What they need to talk about is the fact that there is the ongoing war between William and his father. That is the real story. That is the real story. This right here, okay, interesting. But the real story is that the two royal households are at each other's throats. That is the real story. And I wish they would talk about that, but they're not. They're not going to do it. Okay, people understand that Maine's visit to London was officially part of her routine duties. As Chief Communication Officer to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, she was in town to meet with the UK based communications team, media contacts, stakeholders, and senior figures connected to the Duke's patronages. The trip was part of ongoing planning and engagements. So, in other words, she is going to be back again and again. Harry is planning the same stuff that he always plans. Well, child, Scotty's little soldiers, and whatever other business that he has. And of course, this is a 2-year countdown until the Invictus games. So I would not be surprised if we don't see more of Meredith Maines over in the UK for whatever reason. Yeah, that is going to happen. So no surprise there. Harry has an office there. Harry has business to conduct, especially. And I was curious about the fact that they needed someone over there to handle PR, but it makes sense because number one, the UK is his nation of birth. It is part of his birthright. He is a royal. He is a prominent international figure. And there's other things to plan besides the Invictus. So it would just make sense to have representatives over there so that there's no ambiguities. Whatever words that are coming from the Sussexes, it'll be more official. If necessary, there's a direct face to face conversation with someone that represents the Sussexes. So that makes sense. Oh my goodness, sat behind Camilla Tominey at Wimbledon. Don't worry, Sussex squad. I mentioned I was a Harry and Meghan fan and that she blocked me on Twitter for calling her a wanker. Isn't that something? Now, I don't know if this person is a squatty or not, but as she said, she's a fan. And she just happened to see the largest cranial mass in all of Wimbledon, that very large skull. I wonder how big it looks in person. Anyway, she just happened to sit right behind her and off to the side, I would say. And she decided to say something to her. And she does not look happy, does she? What do we got there? 24 inches or 0.6096 meters. That is the length of her head from top to bottom. That is massive, isn't it? That is massive. So just for reference, I decided to measure it out so you guys won't have to. But yeah, there you have it. Not so tough now, is she? Oh man. My God, she has a big head. It fascinates me. It really does. I shouldn't look at her like that, but it just fascinates me. I mean, from top to bottom, you have to admit it. I don't know if it's because her chin is protruding or something, but it just seems like a lot. Yeah, it just fascinates me. The one person I would love to interview just to ask him what is it like to be in the room with her in her head. Um, I guess that would be what is his name? Um, oh, John Cleese, because he actually sat across from her one day. And do you see how fascinated he looks? He's just not sure what to make of it. She's not sure what to make of it. I mean, it's just like you've seen it on television, but in person, it's just so much larger, imposing. It just takes up a lot of the cubic space around you. See what I mean? And she's not even wearing that Timu outfit. Remember the Timu outfit she had on? Where is that? That Timu outfit. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's that one where it looked like she looks like a truck stop waitress. And she's so proud of that outfit. Oh man, she is so proud of that outfit. There it is right there. There it is. I did a little collage. She is so proud of that outfit. I don't know why she didn't wear it to the Wimbledon. She definitely would have stood out. Yeah, she definitely would have stood out if she would have wore that. What a very bizarre woman, huh? But I tell you what, she definitely makes an impression. One thing is for certain, you once you see her, you'll never forget her. Let me see. Let me find one more. And she's a big liar too. She makes up stuff. She's always making up stuff. Like right here. Check this out. This is when Phil, what's his name, had asked her about Philip Schofield. He had asked her about the Meghan made Kate cry. And of course, she just started looking up and looking around, and you could just kind of see how the wheels are turning in her head when she thinks of some kind of clever retort, which really wasn't clever. She just basically said she went by the information that she was told. Gosh, do you see how big her head is? I can never not think about that. If I look at Mount Rushmore, I think of her. There you go. She's a regular Pinocchio. She just makes up stuff and very much obsessed with Meghan. She is obsessed with Meghan. God, I feel bad for whoever like sat behind her and saw all of that up close. That's frightening. That is the stuff of nightmares. Okay. So, oh, I got Martin here. Martin from Ministry of Hacks. We haven't heard from him in a while. Let me play a little soundbite from Martin of Ministry of Hacks. You know what, guys? I missed the dog. She's gone. You guys know I was dog sitting this week. I keep wanting to reach over and pet her because she would just sit up under me while I'm working. And she's not there. I'm like reaching over and there's nobody there. Oh my goodness. I didn't know I was going to miss her so much.
And I asked Jews.
And yet, when her family asked me if I wanted to keep her any longer, and I was like, no, I'm good. Okay.
Morning, friends. Happy Sunday. How are you doing? She's too ill to work, but she's fully well enough to go to Wimbledon. All those charities that she's a patron of haven't seen her for over a year. Too ill, still recovering. The cancer card comes out frequently, but she's able to attend Wimbledon. And to be honest, if she was a real benefits claimant in the UK, the Department for Work and Pensions may have some quite tough questions to ask her. I don't know what she'd respond to them. I think, to be honest, her attending Wimbledon is a big raising of the middle finger to the British taxpaying public and anyone that's ever suffered from any form of life-threatening disability all over the world. I was absolutely amazed to see her sitting out on the hottest day of the year, having been labelled as a cancer survivor. It's unhelpful. It's not following medical advice. If she can do this, why can't she do other work? None of it adds up. And to all the royalists that were clapping her when she landed, she's just a normal human who literally has achieved nothing in her life. Why the applause? I just cannot get my head around it. People are blind. Comments are open as ever.
So that was Martin from Ministry of Hacks on TikTok. Check him out when you have the opportunity. But yeah, she went to the Wimbledon. Now, you guys, this is going to take an interesting turn because, well, anyway, I'll show you in a minute. This is out of place. This should have been up higher, but never mind. There you go. This is beyond skinny. It is worrisome. This is not healthy. Does anyone care about Kate Middleton? KP should take a break from stalking Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex and actually help Kate. This is troubling. The Wells, William and Kate, are always steps apart. Does he see her? Does he see her? Now, at first, I wasn't sure. And then I looked at the other picture again. I'm like, oh, yeah, I see that. I see that. That is something that if you're wearing like super tight jeans, if you're very slender and you're wearing super tight jeans, then you would expect to see something like that. The thing is, the people who supposedly love Kate so much, they praise her for being so thin. They praise her for being so thin. And it is all part of the gaslighting where people look the other way. It's like anytime there's someone in trouble, especially when it's a married couple and one of the partners are in trouble or, whatever that means between the two partners, and the other partner does not seem to see it or acknowledge it. And then other people who are, fans of theirs, they make excuses for it. And I do not think that this is related to illness. This has been brewing for several years now. This has been brewing for several years. It's not new. I looked at a photo of Kate when she first, married into the family and everything. And she looks so robust and healthy. But for the past, I don't know how many years, it has been from one extreme to another. Usually when people are older, they, you put on weight. You put on a little weight. it could be a camera angle, right? And that could just be a rogue shadow of some sort. But then at the same time, it just kind of makes my stomach feel queasy. So certainly she doesn't move about like someone who's, suffering. And nowadays, pretty much with whatever treatment, Charles lost weight a little bit, just a little, but then he's back to that size he was before, maybe even a little heavier. The thing is, it's not like the treatments of the past. People actually keep their hair. People actually gain weight. They don't just lose weight. Some people gain weight. It's not always so obvious like it used to be in the past. Of course, we don't know what type of cancer she had because they won't tell us. I think it is definitely something from the lifestyle, meaning whatever the happens with that family, that a painfully shy person who's not particularly bright, who is not very well spoken, has been thrust on the world stage. And then there's the insecurity of knowing that, what do they call it, imposter syndrome? Knowing you're not that person that people have been praising in the press. You're not even close to that person. And they make up things to make you more like a idealized version of whoever that person is. Now, that was a comment from the person who posted the photo on the left side, right? I think, oh, well, no, was it this one? No, I think it was the photo on the left. Well, yeah, I saw this on Twitter. Now, here's some more comments. People can be naturally skinny, even too skinny. It's called ectomic, what is it? Ectomorphic, ectomorphic build. Build. I don't care for Kitty at all, but I personally think this is just her normal body, although emotional stress is likely exacerbating it. Another person commented, yes, I also thought that bone was very prominent. That bone was very prominent every time. This woman has serious eating problems, and it has nothing to do with her supposed illness. So the Rangers don't try to justify her. No, they don't. The Rangers, they celebrate. They celebrate how thin she is. Oh, I've seen one of the comments say, "Wow, she's had 3 children, and look at her body." They are actually celebrating this. This to me looks very like just because you put on a pretty dress, the scars are still there. That lady is going through hell in that marriage. She is looking pathetically thin. I'm sorry, I will say it. She made her bed through the love of power and greed. Okay. Another quote from a comment there says, oh my gosh, I was going to point that out, but then I said, don't do it. I'm glad somebody else noticed that as well. And lastly, very uncomfortable photo. The whole one. I can't bear her, but her fans do her no favor. Keep saying she's fine. Now, those are real comments. I did not put their things share their names or whatever, but those are the real comments from that tweet. And that's just a few of the comments. And as you see, I didn't just go with, one type or one side of comment. I chose from different points of view. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let me see here. Let me see here. Shoulder blades. You can see it when sit down. Really? I didn't notice that. Let's see. Life Absolute says Kate looks amazing. What she looks like? This is nutty. Is silly. Do you prefer more what people want? This is just ridiculous. Okay. Oh, I didn't think about that. Imagine Princess Charlotte picking up all those insecurities her mother has in front of her of the camera, which she will also have to deal with. Well, I tell you who's not feeling that. You ever see those daughters over there in the Dutch royal family? They're thick. They're thick. They definitely are larger. Well, both their parents are larger. They're not fat. They as they used to say, they have big bones. The whole family has very big bones. Now, I would say that the Dutch royal family is quite, robust, quite healthy. But let's go back to that again. I just get this queasy feeling in my stomach looking at that. Do you know what I mean? Just kind of like, ah. Well, you guys, I'm not wishing anything bad on her. I hope that's just the camera angle. I hope that's the camera angle. It's just too much of a coincidence, isn't it? What Diana went through. It's just too much of a coincidence. So I just don't want to believe that could be the same thing. And then, of course, there's all the photos with the plasters that has not really had a logical explanation. Well, I mean, let me tell you something. You all know I got a crush on Queen Maxima. You know I have a crush on Queen Maxima. I won't pretend otherwise. I think she is so beautiful. I think she's so beautiful. As a matter of fact, out of all of the ones over there, I think she is the most beautiful. I love the way she dressed, and I like her personality. I think that out of all of them, she is, she's quite beautiful. Let me see here. I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of like the whole Dutch royal family since I brought it up. Okay, let me try that. Queen Maxima? Nope, I don't have it. Oh, yeah, that's a good photo of them right there. Okay, I'll be right back with it. I will be right back with it. Okay, let me try that. Okay, that didn't work out. Let me see. What do I have? Oh, okay. Let's see what I got there. All right, let's see what I got there. Let me try that again. Well, I don't know why that shows up there and not over here, but oh well, never mind. Now, you know me, I'm gonna be obsessed if I can't find it. Okay, here goes. Here goes. I found them. See what I mean? Them some big girls, ain't they? I mean, they're not fat. They're thick. They're big bone, healthy. There's some big healthy girls, large and tall. They're all tall. Doesn't she though? Oh my God. She is like, I'm always amazed at what she's going to wear next. I think that they overlook her for best dress all the time. They overlook her for best dress all the time. But I think she's very pretty and I think she dresses amazing. Right? I told you there's some big girls. And they're not shy about it either. Ain't nothing shy about them. Oh man, where's that video of them dancing? But yeah, those are some big girls. That's Queen Maxima. She is maxed out. Well, I mean, my words may have different meanings for different people, but they're very healthy girls. And they have amazing hair too. I did see that. I did. I did. Um, I'm gonna have to stop calling her Popeye. Yeah. Oh my God. Um, you know, mm, I don't know what else to say. I don't yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the bone. You know, the waist is one thing, but that oh, okay, I gotta stop looking at that. That makes me feel a bit queasy. It really does. That makes me you know how when you see someone that is so thin that it just It alarms you. And if that was anybody else, not just, I'm not going to say if that was Meghan, if that was anybody else, especially someone in the public eye, they would have said something. They would have said something. This is not just a preference. This is, it looks like it's gone too far. A lot of the pants, the trousers that she wears, they pucker around the hips, the hip area, they pucker. They're very loose. But if the derangers say it's okay, if her husband says it's okay, because even with whatever treatment that she's going through, I just, this far away, it does not make sense. It is not making sense. It does not make sense. And she was like this before whatever medical thing that happened. We all know that their marriage is a sham, right? Well, I think William has beefed up again from where he was. William, around the first of the year, well, no, around the early part of 2024, William was looking as po as a chicken wing, but he's beefed up again. But she, not so much. Not so much. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. It ain't none of my business. But just between me and you, it does not look kosher. It does not look kosher. Not wishing anything bad on her. Her children need her. And according to the tabloid media, the country cannot live without her. So I will let them deal with that. But ignoring it, and that's just like one of these people said, they're not doing her any favor. And the other one, very uncomfortable photo, the whole one. I can't bear her, but her fans do her no favor. Keep saying that she's fine. That's not doing her any favors. When it comes to body image, our eyes are broken. It's just like the old saying, there's your side of the story, there's my side of the story, and then there's the truth. Well, one thing is that our eyes deceive us about our own body image. There's a deception there. There's always something that other people can see that you can't. Long time ago, I injured my leg, and I went to an orthopedic doctor not so long ago, and just him observing me walking into the room, he's like, um, he could see that, he could tell you which leg was injured just from how, and I'm thinking I'm moving like everybody else, but he could see it. That's what he does for a living. And I wasn't even there for my leg. I was there for my back. And he's telling me about my leg. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on. But just like I said, I think it is disturbing. That is not her normal weight. She did not look like this 20 years ago. Naturally slim people are slim in childhood to adult. That was not legs. She had she had a puffy face. I just, I got a ton of photos of all of those people, and she looked so much different. She looks so much different from, you know, and even before Louis was born, didn't she lose a lot of weight before Louis? And then she had Louis, and she was looking very plump and healthy. When she went to Louis's christening, she was of a nice, plump, healthy size. And then she started going down again. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not wishing nothing bad on that girl. Just leave Harry and Meghan alone. All of them. Just leave Harry and Meghan alone. I really don't care what they do. Just leave the Sussexes alone. Now, can't copy Meghan anymore because it's been proven that she was stalking her. So back to copying Diana when possible. Wimbledon today and Diana circa 1980s. Yeah, there you go. There you go. And of course, ooh. Ooh, We look, but we do not judge, okay? We look, but we do not judge. So I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to go to the next image. This is from Glow. We love Glow. And Glow, if you're listening, we are long overdue for another one of your videos. I repeat, Glow, I'm putting it out there in the universe. We are long overdue for one of your videos. Astonishingly, going from one extreme to another, from having found cancer cells to saying that post treatment she could not do normal things around the home. Kate Middleton has has excelled rather in going from dangerous winter sports activities in her time off to sitting out for hours in really hot weather to watch her favorite sport 2 days in a row. And also it says, we must admit that if this was Duchess Meghan Sussex, the royal reporters would have been slamming her, calling her a liar, doing documentaries, making snide comments about this, wanting her questioned, and they'd be mourning to the discussions with inviting callers to call her a fraud. Interesting. Okay, little typo there. Well, and it's all true. It's all true. There is one standard for certain people, and then there's a whole nother standard for other people. That has been proven time and time again. But let's just make this official. She found balance enough to go skiing and to go off to islands and stuff. And then she was able to recalibrate in time to go to Wimbledon for 2 days straight in the hot sun. That she could not do when it was time for the Royal Ascot. All of a sudden, on the hottest day of the year, she's out there. She is out there. And by the time she passed out the trophy, When it came trophy time, she looked fresh, replenished, a little thin, but she was able to do her thing. She did what she had to do. Just saying. One of the squatties posted this image. I'm not even sure what this is supposed to mean, but I suppose she's doing some kind of dance or something to celebrate being back at Wimbledon. uh, anyway, I love that. Ladies are asked not to wear hats as they tend to obscure the vision of those seated behind them, the official website adds. However, despite such a rule, it's clear some royals wear one anyway, with both Kate and the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, wearing one to keep cool in the summer heat. But as we've seen time and time again, the treatment Kate got by the media and royalists alike was very different than that which Meghan received. So as you look on the right side, Kate breaks style protocol at Wimbledon, but Meghan forced to follow the fashion rules. Meghan was just holding her hat. Meghan was just holding her hat. She didn't want to breach the rules, so she just carried her hat. But Kate, when the time came, she plopped it right on top of her head, and not just today, but yesterday as well. Kate Middleton appeared to break style protocol at Wimbledon. She sure did. It's called a double standard. Now, why angry Kate Middleton refused to curtsy to Queen Camilla at the coronation. You know, I forgot I had this, but I found it today. Kate Middleton may want to add Duchess of Disdain to her already long list of royal titles. And this was in the New York Post. Royal biographer Tom Bauer claimed the Princess of Wales was angry with the newly crowned queen over the guest list for King Charles' coronation. I don't know who she was expecting to be there that was not allowed, but I don't think it's just about a guest list. They just don't get along. Camilla has pulled rank on her time and time again, and she don't like it. Queen Camilla and Kate Middleton battle over blue dresses and what Staffers is saying now. Well, and I've shared that one with you many times. Camilla insists on being the one to wear that shade of blue, and she doesn't ever want Kate to wear it. But of course, I think Kate was being shady at Wimbledon because think about this. Camilla went the other day, right? And she did not get the applause that she was expecting. But Kate shows up. Was it yesterday or day before yesterday? Kate shows up wearing Camilla blue, right? That's what she wore, was the Camilla blue. And of course, she was able to bask in the glow of applause that she received, not to mention the partial standing ovation. Whatever they say, not everybody in the stadium stood up. Mostly the people closest to the Royals were standing, and even not all of them, only some of them. So there's a difference. But again, they do not get along. I think they are practically mortal enemies to each other. And there is a war going on between the houses of Windsor. That is clear. Whatever anybody says, I still think that Charles and William are not getting on with each other. And of course, Kate and Camilla are not getting on with each other. We know that Kate is a mean girl. We know that she is petty. She is very petty. And she's a follower. So if William is having his differences with someone, then of course she is going to follow him, whatever he's doing. I think she's afraid of him, to be honest with you. But yeah, whatever William wants, that's what he gets, and Kate just follows. Kate is only there because she falls in line. That's the only reason why she's there, is because she is an old-fashioned mute woman. She is a kept woman. She is a social climbing woman. And she used to be the yacht girl. That's why she's there, because she's going to do as she's told. She's not going to rock the boat, not with William. Not ever that. Never. So, with that, you guys, I am done. Just going to share this with you. Oprah, Kris Jenner, and Gayle King on vacation. Where did they go? I have no idea, but they look great. Boy, I tell you, money goes a long way, don't it? Money keeps money. That's what they say. Money keeps money. Wow. Well, they look good. And 55 years old. That, of course, is Naomi Campbell, age 55, and looking absolutely stunning. Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. You go, Naomi. It just goes to show, if you got enough money, you can find that fountain of youth if you're looking for it. Yeah, so that's it, you guys. Thank you very much. Well, I tried to keep it down to an hour. I'm going to just take a look at some of your last comments. Oh, yeah, they were in Venice for the wedding. That's true. Well, it looked like they moved the party over the Mediterranean or something. I couldn't tell you where they are, but maybe that is someplace after Venice. They're on somebody's yacht, obviously. Oh, Capri. Yeah, there's some places where people like that go. Wherever they are, they have gone someplace where billionaires go to get away from millionaires. Oh, thank you, Miss Z. Y'all, please hit that like button. Please hit the like button. Let's get those likes. Let's get those likes. Hey, Sequoia Farms. I didn't know you were here. Thank you so much. Money keeps money. Well, I tell you, Kris Jenner has done an amazing job. She's done an amazing job um, building up their financial portfolios. Everybody's got money. The whole family. They're living like royalty. And you know, the thing is, Kris Jenner, she's not, let me see, her husband, her first husband, he was, what is that? Oh gosh, what were they? Oh gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, of some foreign extraction. Well, at least that was his ancestry. And but I think she's like Scottish, Irish, something like that. Um, I know, Casey. Don't they look great? Armenian. That's it. Armenian. Oh yeah, I remember that night. I remember that night. They thought he was gonna sing. I do remember that night. Yeah, but those are some gorgeous moo-moos. Now that is a vacation. That is a vacation. You have all the Ozempic you could carry. You eat whatever you want. You're not gaining no weight. You got enough money to get all the nips and tucks you want. That is the life. Yeah, Robert Kardashian. That's the Armenian. Yep, absolutely. It's so interesting because she's taken on more of an ethnic look, if that isn't too offensive to say. Oh yeah, they can have a helicopter drop off some Ozempic if they need it. Wegovy, Ozempic, whatever they need, they can have somebody drop it off for them. And Oprah, she probably wears the Ozempic patch. She's like the first person in the world to wear the Ozempic patch. Oprah and her Ozempic patch. Oprah loves potatoes. I think she said when she was a kid, they used to call her spuds because anything made with potatoes, she wanted it. Do you guys remember on the Oprah Winfrey show when she was walking into her building and there was some ladies that were like near her apartment? They were trying to see her and everything, and they asked her if they could come upstairs, and she was like, "Well, okay." God, that was funny. Could you imagine that Oprah inviting you up to her apartment, and I don't know, it may have been about 5 ladies or whatever, and they it was so spontaneous that while they were visiting, you could see the maid in the background, like, trying to get out of the view of the camera. But, yeah, Oprah's like, "Yeah, okay." Or did she bring them from the studio? I can't remember, but I just remember that they, went to her apartment. Oprah had 5 apartments divided over 2 floors. So, she purchased the one apartment and then knocked down into the next one, and then she went upstairs and took a couple more from upstairs, and she had them put a spiral staircase in to connect the 2. She said she had always wanted a spiral staircase. A spiral staircase is great until you actually walk on it. You know, um, I have to defend Oprah about that Hawaiian fire situation because every time something happens, she becomes the lightning rod. You got what's his name, Zuckerberg on the island, and a few other people, but the black woman is the one who becomes the face of everything that's wrong with the disparity amongst the people on the island. And for years, I have seen the way every time something happens, they start with Oprah first. Now, I have a lot of criticisms for Oprah. I do. There's a few episodes of her show that I thought were wretched, and I couldn't even watch it. I was just like, this is too ridiculous. But I'm also very sensitive to the fact that somebody like a Oprah is traveling in circles, living like a queen, somebody who looked like they could be my mother, is living a life second to none. And I celebrate that. I celebrate that. I don't always like her. I don't always like everything about her. I have a lot of criticisms for Oprah. Just like when Oprah jokes about being Oprah Winfrey, people get all caught up in their feelings. Oh, there she goes. She's being insensitive. But look at how many rich white men can tell jokes all day about their wealth and their success, and nothing is said about it. But when Oprah does it, then she has to be a model to every person who's ever had money, black or white. She has to be the model of that person. And I just don't like when she gets treated like that. There are so many other people that were living on that island, other billionaires that own property there, and yet she became the one that everybody was angry with. And I never got a good explanation why they were so angry with her. I think that once some of these things become viral, that the person would never have the opportunity to defend themselves. Nobody wants to hear their side of the story. And because of Harry and Meghan, I am particularly sensitive about what is real and what is imagined, what is a, a construct of, you know, other people's opinions and such, and what has really happened. So I'm just saying we have to be very careful with that, because making her responsible for the entirety of what happened on that island, I think that's very dangerous for her, and I think it's unfair. Yeah, absolutely. Always a black woman who has to save the world. And look at Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama um, shares little jokes about living in the White House, but they want Michelle Obama to be on her hands and knees praying and thanking the Lord for this opportunity y'all's gave me to live in the White House. And so, if it was any other first lady that said any of the things that she said about the lack of privacy and all those kind of things, I'm not allowed to do this and that, it would have been funny. But because it's a black woman who did not deserve to be there in the first place, and whose mother moved in and took advantage of everything, then of course she cannot make any jokes. She cannot have any fun with it. She's not allowed to have fun. And doesn't that sound very familiar? We paid for their wedding. We paid for their wedding. Whoever Harry married, you were going to pay for their wedding, pay for their wedding. So why does it just happen to be when there's a black woman involved, then all of a sudden we have to count every penny? We have to make them atone because the black woman becomes the lightning rod. And just ironically today, I was looking at gosh, what was it? Oh gosh. Oh, actually, it wasn't nothing I was looking at. We were having a no. I think it was something that I saw on the computer. And then I had a conversation with someone else about it later on, but it was about welfare. So, welfare was not meant for black people. Food stamps was not meant for black people. It was for the working class white people that were supposed to benefit because the individual states were allowed to distribute the money, just like the GI Bill. The individual states were the ones who allocated the funds so that veterans could go to college. But when you have a state where there's not a lot of, political strength amongst a certain community, let's say the black community, and you trust the white people to make sure the black people get their share of the pie, guess what? They give you what they want you to have, not what the government, the federal government, allocated for you. So a lot of benefits, black people were cut off from it. Okay, after the civil rights movement, there was less cutting black people off from welfare, right? You were more likely to get food stamps and whatever assistance. And what happened after that? Then all of a sudden, Ronald Reagan says that welfare is getting so out of control. And then he came up with the idea, not just him, but other Republicans came up with this idea of the welfare queen. She lives in a big house. She has a Cadillac. She has a bunch of children. She's collecting benefits in several names. And all along, from the first time they gave out food assistance, the largest benefactors of any type of aid or charity or anything has always been white people, especially in rural communities. Even today, there are more white people that collect food assistance, more white people who get these Social Security disability checks. But the media only portrays Black people, Black women in particular, because it's so easy to vilify Black women. It is a national obsession to vilify Black women. And I am just not going to be a party to that. Let's see this. The Rock was with Oprah on raising money to help those people. I don't know anything about the fundraiser. I really don't. All I know, I'll tell you what I do know. People did not like the fact that Oprah and The Rock was asking people to send money. They felt like, oh, they're billionaires, they're millionaires, they should just pay the money. They did not like the idea that rich people were raising money. And I could see, that could be a bit uncomfortable for some people. Not that they're the richest people in the world, but the fact that they were the ones doing it. A man of color and a woman of color asking the public for money. Now, I could think of other people like Jerry Lewis. Let's just start with him. Jerry Lewis, extremely wealthy, running a telethon, asking people for what? Money. What is the difference? So they were trying to help. And as they say, no good deed goes unpunished. And they were punished for it. Now, let's be fair to Blair. McKenzie says, I am a Black woman, so I don't play the blame Black woman card. Just so you know, people got on Oprah because of the way she almost seemed like she couldn't contain her excitement with Hawaii. Yeah, I mean, Oprah is Oprah. Oprah has a certain television persona. And when she goes into selling mode, just like she did with the Oprah Winfrey Show, when she's in front of the camera, she gets excited and she's trying to push whatever cause that she's taken on. So that's the only thing I could say, is that if that did happen, and I did see one of the things where she was asking for money, I just don't recall her getting excited. But if that was her biggest offense, then I still think it has to do with her race. The fact that she is a wealthy, privileged Black woman, and people just can't stand it. So I'm not suggesting that you felt likewise. I'm just saying that in general, I feel like Oprah is constantly given a hard time because she's a Black woman with a great deal of money. Now, the stuff that her and Gail has done, um, you know, um, some of the other things like with Oprah and Michael Jackson, I didn't like that. I thought that Oprah given a platform to those accusers was terrible, considering that Michael Jackson is not here to defend himself. It'd be different if Michael Jackson was on trial or had been in, if he was still alive. But the man is dead. And you bring his accusers who have more holes in their story than Swiss cheese. That was not smart, Oprah. Okay. I did not like that. And Gayle King with the what's his name? The Mamba. What's that man's name? The basketball player. Anyway, I didn't like that either. Gayle King really, I mean, I ranted about her for several days. I was furious with her about that. And when I heard Snoop Dogg refer to her as, you know what? Oh, I cheered him on with that one. I'm like, damn right. Okay. Okay, just because Black women receives pushback is not always because of their Blackness. Sometimes it's them. Okay, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I'm just saying, from the experience that I have with Oprah as a Chicagoan and seeing the way she has been treated and othered from day one, I have to say I've seen a lot of it. And she was held to a standard as a Black woman who just happened to dominate that particular field she was in. I believe that far too often she was mistreated. But I'm not accusing you of that, and you are entitled to your opinions. But with the Hawaii thing, I did not think that was appropriate. I do not think that people were treating her fairly. Um, I think there was a lot of anger at that time, and there were a lot of people, a lot of racist people on the internet that decided to join the bandwagon and go after her. Okay, let me see here. We're just getting Oprah. They were getting on all of the. Yeah, but Oprah was the face of it. Oprah was the face of it. They were tougher with Oprah than they were The Rock. Oprah was the one that was the lightning rod. She was the main one. The Rock was like a secondary prize. But Oprah, oh my goodness, they could not wait. They were practically, I mean, there were conspiracies about the billionaires and the fire, right? But in particular, Oprah was the main one that was under attack. So, yes, I know they criticized the other people. I know that there was a lot of theories accusing other billionaires on the island, but the bulk of the hostility was reserved for Oprah. Let's see, I think people tend to flock to Black women in power and find reason to criticize them unfairly. I think back to Michelle Obama, her husband ran the country, but they found ways to criticize. Yeah, I have a lot of criticisms about Barack Obama. I think he made some huge mistakes with his foreign policy. He made some huge, epic mistakes. But that's another conversation. Huge, huge. I think at a certain point he had got very indecisive and he made a lot of mistakes with his foreign policy. With his foreign policy, I would say he was no better than the rest of them. Okay. Well, okay. I just, um, I'm only just pointing out that there's there and not just with Hawaii, but in general, I think that there is a trend when it comes to Oprah, and it always centers around her blackness and her money. Her blackness and her money. Anything that is connected to that, well, okay, and I shouldn't say that because also the unfair way she treated quite a few of her guests. So I shouldn't just say her blackness and her money, but Oprah has really screwed up. Um, I mean, the whole thing, what was it, Russell Simmons? She was trying to do that thing with him. And it's like, Oprah, you were friends with what's that producer, the Weinstein? You were friends with Weinstein. How come you're not going after him? There's a whole bunch of other people she could have went after. And it seems like she just had a fixation with a certain demographic, and that deserves more scrutiny than Hawaii. That deserves more scrutiny than Hawaii. That's the one where I would say, you know what? F her. I'm in total agreement with that. That deserves more agreement than Hawaii. Oprah has made some big missteps. Gail has likewise made some huge missteps. I do think they got the memo. I'm going to say, I think they got the memo because it's one thing to have a bunch of internet trolls going after you. It's another thing when your community is done with you. And they have screwed up a lot. I'll just say that. Some of it cannot be undone and it won't be forgiven. Yeah. The whole thing with Hawaii, it is still very odd. I mean, brush fires in Hawaii. And I don't even think there was a drought, was it? Was it even a drought? That whole thing was okay. And I'm not just going to try to get into anything conspiracy wise, but oh, the way that played out, the whole way everything spread, I'm just like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. That doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not like they were in some arid place, but I don't recall whether or not they said that that was one of the factors. But um, still, I mean, you just don't expect to see anything like that with Hawaii. No, it wasn't a drought. Lots of, oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm in agreement with you there. There was some inconsistencies there that did not make a lot of sense. There were quite a few inconsistencies. But I just don't want people like Zuckerberg to get a free pass because he's boring and not interesting. Yeah. Okay, you guys, we're drifting into 2.5 hours, and I promised that I wasn't going to be here but an hour. Let me see here. Hey, Legs, did you ever hear the story about that kid that went missing in Hawaii? That he was on some trail and he said he was going to go out for a hike, and then there's that weird picture where you look in the background of the picture and you could kind of see somebody looking at him. Ooh, that was scary. Oh boy. I would I can't tell whether it's someone lurking in the distance or not, but what a creepy story, right? What a creepy story. And the kid has never been seen or heard from since. What was he, a teenager? Oh yeah. Did you see My View, My Opinion? She talked about that, Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz, and how people want Oprah to apologize for Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz. Well, you guys, Oprah has Oprah has had quite a few shortcomings. I mean, she's gotten a lot of things wrong, and it's probably amplified because of her, being such a public person. But um, I also believe what I believe. Oh, thank you so much, Cookies and Cream. Let me put that on the screen. Hey, Soul Brother. Thank you so much for being here. Well. Oh, you guys, if you have Max, right now you can watch what is the thing? Gilded Age. It's on. Yeah, you can watch it after midnight. It's ready. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch Gilded Age. Thank you. Love you guys so much. And you know what? I love the fact that we can agree to disagree and that everyone is so respectful with their opinions. That is truly a blessing. Thank you all for seeing this as a safe space. A safe space. Did I say that right? Yeah. Okay. Cheers. Good night.